Hey, what's going on, working class hustlers of America and all over the globe? It's your main man, Horace, also known as La Machine. This is What to Sell on Amazon, where we talk all things selling on Amazon using the arbitrage business model that is both retail arbitrage as well as online arbitrage. And with me, I have the working class hustler panel. So we have the lovely Miss Sarah, the lovely Miss Karen, the wonderful duo, Nate and Elizabeth, and Brian, Mr. Peoples. Together we form like Voltron, if you old enough to know that character. And and we're the working class hustler panel. We're here for you. We have decided to come together for your benefit, and how we do that is you come to us with your questions, concerns, and issues as it pertains to selling on Amazon, and we address it as best we can. Please note, all of us on this panel actually do arbitrage as well as help you out. We're coming from various perspectives. Myself, I work a regular full-time job, including overtime, and I do this. So we may be, having something in common there. There are other panelists here that do it part-time, full-time. So whatever situation you're coming from, there is someone among the panelists that you will resonate with. So keep that in mind. Bring your questions, concerns, issues. There's nothing that we will not try as a group to address. Now, if you got a chance to watch Friday's video, I did one on retail arbitrage at Walmart. And I kept the video shorter because I'm just not going to continue running my jaws like I normally do for 40 minutes on a YouTube. If you want that stuff, you now have the option to opt in to get all of that. That'd be wonderful for you if you're serious. And if you watch that video, you might have noticed in the comments or whatever, I was actually dealing with this what's it called? It's called Not Your Mother's Naturals. And you know what happened? Somebody said, Horace, La Machine, be careful with that, because I got an IP complaint. And then another person said, Horace, La Machine, be careful with that, because I got an IP complaint. So my point is this. When you do arbitrage, you have to understand part of it is running into IP complaints from time to time. So I want to kind of go around the panel and kind of talk about IP complaints. Does anybody have anything to share in terms of how often you might get them, ways to avoid them? How do you react when you get them?
I can go.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to say, I don't worry too much about IP complaints because I'm not going deep on the product. And if I get the IP complaint through Amazon, I just delete it and move on. I've also had, I'll say it so nobody buys this, that Jordan Skinny Mixes syrups. I went very deep on them, unfortunately, in Pumpkin Spice last fall, and they sent me a letter.
I need to write that down. What was it?
Jordan Skinny Mixes. It's those syrups you put in coffee to flavor them. They're sugar-free. And last fall, I was obsessed with buying any and everything pumpkin spice, so there was tons of those. And I had so many, they sent me a letter in the mail by FedEx.
Whoa.
So, but I didn't find that a problem. I responded back in writing, certified mail myself, and I also asked them in the letter, can I be a distributor of your product? They said no, but but I didn't think it hurt to ask if there must be a formal process for some companies to become a distributor, so I figured best to ask. But I guess I say all that, don't be afraid, because yes, you have to do some paperwork, but it's not shutting down your account.
That's huge. Thank you for that, because that's what happens. A lot of people are absolutely afraid. They think that this is the end. Everything's going to fall apart. Karen, what you got to say about that? I know you got something to share with the hustlers, so get in it.
Well, I agree with Sarah. The thing is, just be calm. It's okay. You're going to be okay, because I know when I got the first, well, I've only had two or three, but I got the jitters. I just don't want any trouble. I just want to run my business, and I want any trouble. But as Sarah says, you can delete the listing, call the products back. There's things that you can do. Respond, let them know. I had purchased some items from, I believe, Walgreens. I believe they were Sharper Image, I believe.
Aha.
Either Sharper Image, or I had some s'more. It was s'more makers that I can't think who makes those. But at any rate, I did the same thing as Sarah did. I said, well, could I be a distributor? And there was a resounding no. You cannot. But I was really surprised because I purchased them from the store. And so there was, some verbiage about whether or not they were authentic products or not. I had a receipt from Walgreens, and that made no difference at all. If you don't have an invoice, I think it's okay to submit your receipts to show good faith, but that's all you're doing, because they're not responding to anything but an invoice.
Mm-hmm. Any of the other panelists? Okay.
Yeah, we got one. We purchased the items online to Arbitrage, online Arbitrage, and I got the IP complaint. They said it was counterfeit, but I actually bought it from the actual from the person, the company that makes it. So I sent them the receipt, and they said, "Okay, I guess
Really?
It's real if you bought it from us." Yeah, we bought it directly from them.
Mm-hmm. And then they allowed you to go ahead. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I guess that's the one time when it's receipt. Well, maybe there's other times when a receipt would work, but
it actually said it was an invoice, but I bought because it came directly from them and their site.
Got it.
If they said it was counterfeit, then that would mean that they're selling their own products counterfeit. So I think that's why, because I got it directly from them. I didn't get it from Walmart or Marshalls or somewhere else. I got it directly from them. And then here recently, we got another complaint. It wasn't counterfeit, but it was a IP for Pendleton. And that was the first time we tried it. I just deleted it. I don't have time for it.
Pendleton?
Especially now with Q4. Yeah, Pendleton.
What do they make?
Clothes,
Clothing?
jackets.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, they make clothes, jackets, even household things like blankets, sheets,
Nice price.
pillowcases.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Incidentally, hustlers
We
that
just
are
deleted
watching, everything I tend to compile notes on everything, the little nuggets that we're getting out here, and I'm adding them to the cheat sheet that continues to grow. So if you haven't had a chance to subscribe and get that, what it is a downloadable PDF. It's not much on it right now, but once you're on it, you will automatically get the updates, and each week it just keeps growing. The goal is to turn that into a handbook. That is a heck of a project. And so if you want to be involved, you can leave comments and add value as well. Think about how great that would be to be an active part of building something that so many people can benefit from. And another thing I want to say before I move on, in case Brian has something to say about it, seems like for me, just the way I think, the overarching theme through what the panelists have shared is, if you get a complaint, go ahead and respond. Don't be afraid to respond. They're not here to kill you. Go ahead and ask. You never know. You might actually get a chance to sell. Most likely you won't, but you got nothing to lose from trying. Mr. Peoples, did you have anything to add to that on IP complaints?
So I've only had one IP complaint, and that was me making the mistake of it was like a, as seen on TV, something by Bulbhead, some dryer lint thingy. I seen the ROI on it, and I went to every Walmart I could. I teed off on that, and I had no idea about IP complaints back then. But so I had a ton of them shipped in, and they were just selling left and right, and then I wasn't allowed to sell them. Then I'd click, reapply. Then I was allowed. And finally I got the IP complaint. And I suppose I could probably challenge it by sending in, copies of the receipts or whatnot. But I didn't want to push it. So I just, recalled the stuff, and that was that.
Okay. We do have a question, and hustlers, if you don't comment, we can't know who you are to acknowledge you. So if you'd like, for those who have not left a comment, just let us know where you're from. But we're going to take this question from Hassie Johnson. Hello, Hassie, we know you. How do we get free UPS supplies? That's just as simple as going to ups.com, creating the free account, and from there you can order supplies. Now, I don't know if you're talking about getting equipment, because that's a whole deal. If you want, hustlers have talked about, right on this panel, have talked about getting printers and things like that. But you just go online to ups.com and sign up. Isn't that right, panel?
Yep.
Yes.
And might as well do the business account so you can get even more free stuff. If you haven't signed up for UPS yet, just get the business account. And again, you're going to have to talk to someone. You're going to have to talk to a rep. Just act like you are balling. They will give it to
That's
you.
right.
That's an important thing. That's an important piece of it.
So, moving along, guys. Last Friday's video, like I mentioned, the uploaded video was about retail arbitrage at Walmart. And you'll notice if you watch that video, I was saying, hey, when I go in, I'm looking for these end caps or these displays that have the big words clearance on it. That's my deal. Does anybody have anything to share in terms of, a lot of times you got new hustlers and they walk into this store, Walmart's big, they don't know where to start. And we tell them scan everything. Yeah. But we don't finish that sentence. If we say scan everything, we got to finish the sentence. Scan everything and plan on being there for 7 hours. So if somebody's got like an hour or two, where would you have them start? That way they have some way, even if it's just a general outline. Anybody have anything to help the hustlers out? A newbie walking into Walmart doing RA for the first time.
I want to give the advice that you gave me, Horace, because you also I know you source from Ollie's. And when I first went into Ollie's, I thought, oh my gosh, I cannot handle this. There's stuff everywhere. It was too much. It was overwhelming. It was sensory overload. And the advice, you probably don't even remember anymore, but your advice was go in and take a section. So one day, go to, in Ollie's, it might be the books. And another day, go to the snack foods. Another day, go to health and beauty. So I would say with Walmart's, really the same thing applies. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. You cannot possibly scan the entire store. So sure, when you're first starting out, hit the clearance section and see what you can get, and then maybe take on another smaller section of the store. Another day, do toys. Another day, just keep working at it until you get through the various areas. And that way also you get to really sort of know the merchandise.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I remember Sarah said something a while ago, and when I was there last week, I remembered, didn't you say it's not a bad idea to look at Walmart branded products
Mm-hmm.
And generally we tend to be approved to sell those.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's a brand that's an exclusive Walmart, those are being sold on Amazon as well. A lot of people aren't thinking about that.
Great value. Great value. You can
So,
put great value into the search, and you'll see a lot of products.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing
Better
that I
Homes and Gardens.
Better homes and gardens. Yes,
There's a ton of that.
many of the products there.
I didn't think about that. Brian, did you have something to add?
Yeah, another thing that I've done, not necessarily at Walmart, but I have a regional store by me that their labels on the shelving on the facing of the shelf is actually the UPC. So I'll go in and I'll take like photos of like a whole entire section, and then I can pull them up on on my computer and then use my phone and just scan it with my phone at home. Um,
Hmm.
so I could find the listings that way, or I could scan the picture using the Amazon Seller app, or I could just manually type in, what I'm looking for to even come up with more listings. So,
I remember that somebody, it's probably you, saying, "Hey, you can it'll save time when you're doing retail arbitrage. If you can just take pictures, and then you can go home, and at your leisure, you can do the research, and that way, when you go back in, now you got a real plan. And even though you might think to yourself, yeah, well, that's making 2 trips, but you could probably, I say it all the time, you can burn through 3 hours in a store without even knowing it. You
Yeah.
know,
Easily.
I mean, you think about what that means, guys. That means you're hungry. That means you're tired. That could mean the battery on your phone is starting to die because that app is very resource intense. You know what I mean?
It is.
So,
That photographing idea is really great if you're someone like me. I mean, well, it got a little better, and now I'm back to where I was. Reality is, we're in COVID times, and I don't like to stay in places too long. I like to kind of get in and do what I'm going to do and get out. I don't like to linger. And so taking photographs, would really enable you to sort of identify the things of interest and then really take your time to do the research that you need to do, because it's hard to evaluate, to fully evaluate in the aisles sometimes. It's just, you can't necessarily spend as much time as you want to really digging deep into a product. I bought a product just recently, and I scanned it, and it looked like it would, be great. And then when I brought it home, I realized that one of the sellers on the product was the manufacturer, the maker,
Hmm.
who had the low cost. There were many other sellers that were selling the item for a higher price, but I don't think they were ever getting the buy box, because the seller was on the listing, and I just hadn't seen that while I was in the aisle. If I had realized it, that's not a product that I would purchase, because I can't undercut. I can't beat the manufacturers. Amazon, I'll go get on listings with Amazon. Every once in a while, Amazon will run out and they'll let me in. But the manufacturer doesn't run out. They don't run out.
not usually, unless
and I
it's
can't beat
something.
their price ever. So
And that's one of the things you want to. That's one of the things you want to watch for IP, because a lot of times if the manufacturer's on the listing, they're coming. You look for an IP complaint.
Yeah, that's a telltale sign right there.
It's one of the things you want to watch.
Let's take a moment to say hello to Miguel Matos. ¿Cómo estás? That's one of the longtime hustlers, and also Katie Soray. That's also a regular hustler. Another topic that I wanted to cover. Oh yeah, you know what? I've been having a lot of just seems like lately, and I know Elizabeth is probably going to jump on this one, but for those of you who don't know, you can connect with me by texting the words "working class hustler" to the number on the screen, and what'll happen is you can start asking me questions, and I'll respond as best I can. And lately, I've been getting more and more people talking about these toys. You go to list toys, and then you start getting compliance requests. So let's delve into that. I want to let Nate and Elizabeth just sort of tell the hustlers, for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, what is the deal with compliance, particularly with toys?
For us, we started early, getting ready for Q4. We sent some items in, and as soon as we sent them in, we started getting requests for the compliance letters. It's really hard to get them from the manufacturers, and for us, it wasn't worth it. Not
Can
at all.
you tell us, for those who don't know, what is Amazon asking for when what do they really want, and what's the purpose?
It's a safety letter, basically,
Okay.
that they're meeting all the guidelines for their locality, their city, state, the federal guidelines on toys and what they're allowed to have, what they're supposed to tell the consumer. Like sometimes when you buy stuff, it says not suitable for kids under 3 because it's got small parts, things like that. And they have to have those compliance letters, but they don't provide them to us. They're only required, and I could be mistaken, they're only required to provide them to states, counties, or the federal government. Now, Amazon is wanting us to have those, I believe, as liability precautions. But
To
for
protect
us,
themselves.
right, as
Mhm.
well as, well, not us, but yeah, to protect them. So
Yeah.
if something comes up, they already have it on file. They can just submit to whomever they need to submit it to. But it's too much. I mean, we back to back. We're getting that request.
Mhm.
And we're dealing with other sellers that are much bigger than we are,
Hmm.
and they're even having problems receiving the compliance from their distributors.
Hmm.
Distributors are, and she's saying that her distributors are having problems getting them themselves.
Yep.
It's turning into it's like almost like pulling teeth, and and a lot of them are questioning, like, are they going to go into toys this Q4? Are they going to go with the products, because it's so bad that before you even send out your product, you're getting that letter on something that you just listed through was it
Arbitrage.
M, before they even hit, you ship them. And
There was-
Yeah, before they've even inventoried it. Before they've even inventoried it, they're already hitting you with these compliance. And I've even had some hustlers texting me saying, hey, I was lucky. I was fortunate enough to get the manufacturer to furnish me with these documents. I submitted to Amazon, and they still reject it. So.
Exactly. Because I guess when it first started in the beginning, Amazon was waiting on one seller or a certain amount of sellers to send that compliance in. Well, they weren't getting them. And now they said, pretty much, we're going to cut this nip this right in the butt. And that's what's happening. They will kill the listing. It used to be if someone would say, well, I'll hurry up and sell it. No, there's no time now, because they're eliminating that listing right there.
Wow.
Then if you don't send it, they deactivate the listing.
Right. It's, yes, within 24 hours. I mean, within hours or minutes.
Actually, probably about half of the toys that we were listing, we got the request for the letter before we shipped it. Some of them, we had already sent them in to Amazon, and then we got the request. So then it was, you have to pay to send them out, and then you have to pay to request them to come back.
Wow. Well, we have another panelist that was gracious enough to join us, the lovely Miss Tradina. We go back a long, long way. You got a copy? Can we hear you? How about you, Tradena? You got a copy on us?
Looks like she's on mute right now.
Okay. Well, we'll get her unmuted, and I'm sure she'll probably have something to offer. Did anybody else want to delve in on this IP issue before we move on to another question? Did anybody have anything to add to that?
Oh yeah.
Here's one. Here's one right here for all you newbies. I know you've seen this at Walmart. Paw Patrol.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
They will cut you right out before you get it, and you can get compliance for this.
And this,
if you can get one, let us know.
This one we actually sent in,
right,
and then we had to recall it.
Now I want you to think about this, hustlers that are watching. Paw Patrol is a gated brand, so you go through everything to get ungated, and then you run into that wall. See what I'm saying? Unpack that. So, and mind you, when you're out there sourcing, you see a lot of deals for Paw Patrol, and you say, man, that's got to be a brand that's worth getting ungated in. You're going to have to jump through some hoops, and then you run up on that. That's just so unfortunate. Anybody else want to add anything? Because we got a question, I think, specifically for Sarah. Here, we'll just jump in there. Hi, all from Southern California. This is Allison Carey. Question for Sarah. How deep were you on Jordan's skinny mixes? I'm about 16 deep myself on their pumpkin spice. Thank you.
Yeah, that pumpkin spice will get you. I answered him in the chat.
Oh, you did?
Just for everybody, yeah. I was about 30, and they didn't hit me till halfway through.
Okay.
And I wanted to add, I think they hit me because the reason I was on it was because they were not at the moment. They were out of stock. So when they came back in stock, that's when they took notice I was there, and that's what I think prompted them to send the letter. But yeah, pumpkin spice.
Okay, Lola Perez, thank you for joining us with your question. When we get IP complaints, what should I do? Now, me personally, when I get one, I just get off the listing. I'm a little bit bolder than some people, so what I usually do is just tank the price, and they continue freaking out as the inventory moves. But you may not want to do what I do. Anybody want to tackle that? What do we do when we get an IP complaint?
I would say first
we
thing.
Delete the listing.
You delete the listing, okay? And Mr. Peebles?
I would make sure first that it is a legitimate IP complaint from a legitimate person. Make sure that, when you go into Seller Central and you look at your account health, you're going to see it there. And, they should be going through Amazon to notify you and whatnot, and not through just like a generic email or a seller email or, something like that. Make sure it's legit first.
Let's unpack that. What Brian is letting you know is that a tactic of your competition will be to send you a fake IP complaint letter in order to get you off of the listing so that they can enjoy the lion's share. So you can go right into your Seller Central account and you can verify whether or not you have a legitimate IP complaint.
It has to come. It's really supposed to come through Amazon if it's a legitimate complaint. I've had legitimate as well as questionable complaint that came as just a message, just a message to me in my Amazon account, and that's not really the process. On the other hand, listen. I try not to go in too deep on anything. And I think we talked about having having multiple platforms that you sell on, because sometimes things don't work out. So sometimes I just have to, sometimes I pull it from Amazon and I'll sell it on eBay or Facebook Market, or, sometimes you have to take a loss.
Let me add something on that. I was selling these Ninja, whatever it was, some type of blender or whatever, and I was killing it because I was getting them at Ollie's. And then I get this this message from Ninja. But it didn't come through the proper channels. It came as a customer question or whatever
Message. Mm-hmm.
and I was like, whatever.
No.
So they kept on, and I'm like, you're right. If you're real, then why are you contacting me this way? And it turns out they were real.
Story.
It's funny because they was like, you know what? We get this all the time. We really don't want to, have this on your record. And they went on to actually forward me an application to apply as an authorized distributor. I didn't do it. But so just my story on that. Let's see. Oh, Lord have mercy. Mikey is in the building.
I want to say hi to everybody. For some reason, I can't actually comment. I'm not sure what I did or didn't do, but hi, everybody. Hi, Mikey. Hi, everybody.
Mikey has a question. If I switch to an LLC, will all my invoices still work for ungating? Absolutely. Yeah. I see what you're saying, because now the name won't match what's on invoices that were done prior to, but I don't think that would be a problem. I mean, the only way I could see that being an issue is if there was something you got ungated for before you went to an LLC, you ended up getting gated in it again, which could happen, and now when you try to present your documentation, it's not going to match. That's the only way I could see that being an issue. I don't know. Is that what you were thinking? Let us know.
I think you want it to match.
Yeah.
Because
I would.
for much less, Amazon will sometimes kick back your request and send you through an endless loop. So, I started as a DBA, and then I went to LLC, and it was kind of dicey in terms of when I switched over what things, so that everything lined up and matched with my account. But you want to give some thought to that and try to get things to line up. Change the information in your profile on your account, maybe before presenting invoices with the new name or the name with the LLC. Try to get it situated in your account first if you can, is what I would say.
This is an interesting one, panel from Breaker 19. Hey, Horace and gang, should we have insurance regardless of how much we sell? Thanks. Now, this hustler understands that I think the rules say if you're selling in excess of $10,000 or at least $10,000 a month in sales or more, it is a requirement to have insurance. But the question is, would it be prudent and would it be beneficial to have insurance regardless of how much we sell? I can only tell you that the lady that what's her name, she will tell you it's probably a good idea, and she gave some great anecdotal stories and situations that could arise. Okay, if someone gets hurt, chances are you're not going to be held liable, but you could still end up having the expense of being represented in court, and just because you're not liable, that doesn't stop you from being sued in the first place. And you're probably not in the direct line of fire. You get dragged into a lawsuit as part of an entire group that gets sued. So in that from that aspect, I would say yes. Personally, I did not get it until I was forced, but you might not want to do what I do. So, panel, help me out here.
You need it. You need it. They're going to
if you're serious, yeah.
They're going to start suspending accounts if you don't have it.
If you're at the 10,000 mark,
right? Well, don't worry, you'll be at 10,000. Yeah. You better get it now because it will start going up. It's the trend. It's the way to go. I mean, we just talked about the compliance claims with the toys. If you want to sell something on Amazon and I believe it is in your contract, you will need that insurance. So don't waste your time. Get the insurance. It'll protect you and it'll stop your account because they will start. Q4 is ramping up and you'll see. Get the insurance.
Let me add to that. I was very pleasantly surprised. It's not as expensive as you think. And it'll cover things like most of us have inventory at home. What happens if that's damaged? Because that could happen, guys. So, that could be fire, that could be water, that could be theft, anything. There are other aspects of having insurance beyond just trying to remain compliant. If you're serious about being in business, insurance is part of it. Any of you out there, hustlers, if you're watching the replay, or wherever you might be, if you work a regular job, do you think your employer has some sort of insurance? And it's not just about you. It's about they're seriously in business, so they're going to have insurance. That's just part of being in business.
CJ is asking about the cost of the insurance. He's hearing about $600 a year. And I think that tends to be about right if you're going to get the $1 million coverage that Amazon requires.
Yeah, that's what I paid.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, and I just got mine last month. It was about $630, something like that. I was expecting it to start at like $800, and it's still, you know what I mean. If you're serious in business, I know you really don't want to hear it because I'm not a big guy to talk about write-offs. But hey, it is an expense, so you can write it off.
It is a normal business expense, and I think one of the. I mean, this is the Keep It Real channel, right? You tell us all the things that are the real deal about this whole thing, and the real deal is that it's a business, and in business you make money, but guess what? You have expenses. Expenses are real.
You do.
It's not very wise to try to do business without expenses. Of course, you want to, not have unnecessary expense. But my goodness, business expense, business insurance is. I didn't have it for a long time, and I was quite fearful a lot of the time because all it would take is, for a piece to pop off a toy and hit a kid in the eye. Some kind of skincare product I was selling to give someone a terrible reaction. And then people go for everybody's pockets.
Yeah. And when that lawyer gets hired, he pulling everybody in, and then we'll sort it out after you pay for your representation.
That's right. And I knew I was ill-equipped to handle legal fees.
and that's right. And most lawyers use the shotgun, fire at everyone. That's it.
Let me just say something real quick. I'm very cautious when we talk about expenses. A lot of times you'll hear people saying, they like to say, "Oh, I'll get that back." No. Just because you have something that you can write off as an expense, that don't mean you necessarily getting that money back. It will take away from your liability, but it ain't like you gonna get that money right back. So I'm real, I always make that distinction.
Just as a side note, we're not accountants.
Right,
so
we're not.
If you want tax information, there you go. You want tax information? Contact your accountant.
True.
Or a tax attorney. they'll have specific information for you, but I would imagine that some of the expenses we incur, we can write them off.
Right. Felicia Williams, thank you for joining us. Did anybody answer her question? She
Yeah,
says
I did. I
You
answered
did?
it.
You think
Yep,
we should
and
take it, or you think the other hustlers might get something out of this? Let's take it. I know people concentrate on Christmas for Q4 mainly. How about Thanksgiving themed sales, food and or decorations?
Yes,
They're
yes, and
wondering if
yes.
it was yes, yes, yes. All right,
yes,
hustlers.
all of
Yeah.
it, all of the Q4, Halloween, run it all together because it's all going together. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Black Friday,
I like
all
it.
that.
Just don't go
Okay.
deep.
Just don't go too deep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can test it.
Unless this is what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to wait until after Q4, get all that junk on clearance, hold
On
it for
sale.
a
That's
year.
right. Yeah,
Then you can clear the shelves.
Oh
yeah.
yes.
I'm going to add this to the cheat sheet. We need to take advantage of all Q4 themed items. All right, let's see what else we got. Did we already take this one? I recently received 2 IP complaints. Was able to remove one due to the brand retracting the complaint. Still have another complaint which the brand did retract, but did it via email. Yeah, that ain't helping us, huh? Unless you could forward that email to Amazon. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, they will sometimes retract if you want to be responsive in some way to these messages or these complaints, and sometimes there will be conditions, and sometimes you can provide them evidence that says, causes them to say, all right, you're legit, it's okay. I don't have any experience with that. I only
That's
have
pretty-
experience that says, okay, if you agree to delete it and never ever 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 sell our products again, we'll retract.
That's pretty good. I'm glad Allison shared that with us, because you don't really hear about IP complaints being retracted. We needed to hear that. Thank you very much for that. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, Richard Foxworth. That's one of the hustlers. Hi there from the Sunshine State. That's Florida, isn't it? That ain't
Florida.
California. Okay. Allison says, I believe when you make a pro account, you agree to getting insurance with Amazon regardless. And you know what? I want to say,
I think that is.
I
in the
think
fine
that is
print.
correct. Yeah, I think because even Chris, what's his name? He talked about that years and years ago. Let's see.
That's true.
Let's see. Looks like Mike is having success. So let that be a benefit to all. If you put the work in, you can definitely get those numbers. Mm-hmm. Let's see if we got any. Yeah, Amazon is very slow, and they told them it will fall off after about 180
80 days.
days. This guy knows his stuff. He looks pretty studious too in his tie. Brands can directly retract complaints as long as the brand rights owner does it via their Amazon account. Some brands aren't quite sure how to do this. Yes, I could definitely see that.
Almost got an IP complaint.
I sell those all the time. So, whoa.
Yep, I almost got an IP complaint. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Finally. Oh my goodness. Whew. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
So what had happened was, I was selling wet brushes, that brand, and man, were they doing good. And I was selling it I was new. I didn't know any better. I was selling it the only other person on the listing was the brand itself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was selling them, and they were selling good, and I didn't go any higher than they did. As a matter of fact, I priced it like 1 or 2 pennies below them. Well, eventually, just as I was I think I had 5 left out of like 10 or 12 that I ordered, and then just as soon as I got down to the last 5, all of a sudden somebody placed an order for all 5 of those brushes. It just like they just like stashed them up. The next thing you know, there was a widespread letter to everybody selling wet brushes not to do that. So I think it was the company that like bought them from me. But they never said anything to me, so I'm grateful for that, because they just took it and left me alone. Because they probably figured I didn't have any more, so they just took it and left me alone. So I didn't touch it again. But hindsight, I never would have went on there to begin with, because that was the brand itself is on there, and that was it, just them, you know.
Looks like one of our longtime working class hustlers, Miguel, says Walmart's dumbbells, the Cap brand. If you're familiar with that, that's a brand for people who lift weights. They have IP complaints. I wouldn't be trying to sell dumbbells or weights anyway. That stuff is too heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to tell us about that.
Well, I sold a lot of weights during the
COVID,
during this
right?
pandemic. Yes.
Yep.
You made money?
That was the thing. During COVID, that was the thing.
If you could, it just kind of all depends. I sold weight plates. Plates.
Right.
The plates.
The plates.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to deal with it.
What do you call it?
During right.
Mm-hmm.
Like a medium USPS box or something. You could, but I've considered many times. I've seen Cap weights on sale at Walmart for a great price. I'm glad I didn't do it.
That was the hot thing during COVID.
Yes.
The guys that were making the money, they were selling it on other platforms that they didn't have to worry about the IP complaints, such as Facebook Marketplace. You could have made a lot of money on those. And I mean, I would see them where they would fight in the stores just to get those when they came in.
You couldn't get them; they'd be out of stock everywhere. I sold weight plates and hair clippers. Man, when the pandemic first started,
anything dealing with weight, kettlebells, all the way to kettlebells to just the 2-pounders were the price was on because of during COVID. You remember you couldn't leave. You couldn't go to the gyms. Gyms were locked down tight, so any way you could work out, that was the thing. And it was like if I remember, $5 a pound. It got to $5 a pound.
That's crazy. Now it's probably back down to $1 a pound.
And Karen, you were sticking them in flat rate boxes.
Right, flat rate box.
Oh, that's
70
genius.
pounds in a flat rate box.
That is genius.
I take it all around. The people at the post office were not happy with me.
Those poor government workers.
They were not happy.
Somebody's off with a bad back because of you.
They were not happy. But they arrived. I know that at least they weren't slinging them around.
And they would also fit. They would also fit in that the envelope. And the envelope you could put in up to 71 pounds in one envelope. And imagine how many of the little dumbbells that you could fit in there, going at, like I said, $5 a pound. Yeah, you made a killing. You pay $8.25 it was, $8.20 to ship something. Oh my goodness.
Mikey's saying Discovery has this. Is it Discovery Toys?
It must be. Yeah. It's got to be.
Microscopes and.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. CJ says we saw a lot of loose weights that were not packed correctly, and they were all over.
That's right.
Mine made it.
Info says, "Hi everyone. Is it still time to properly prepare for fourth quarter?"
So this is a great question.
It is.
Right.
I think there's time. We haven't quite entered it, so It depends on what you mean by preparation. Don't get me wrong. How do they say, a rising tide raises all ships? You're going to benefit during the fourth quarter regardless. I never actually prepare for the fourth quarter. And every fourth quarter, my sales go up because people are just in a festive and shopping mode. So when we talk about preparing, and I want to specifically push this question over to Nate and Elizabeth, what does it mean to prepare for the fourth quarter?
For us, it's sending product in, because with so many people sending stuff in for FBA, as it stands right now, normally it takes 3 to 5 days for us to get our items to show up in the store, active, ready for sale. But during Q4, because there's so many other people sending stuff in, it's going to take a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. So you want to risk waiting until October to send stuff in. It probably won't be ready and active until sometime in November, mm-hmm. depending on how many other people have sent things into that distribution center. It just depends. Or is it something that you want to just fulfill it yourself so that you can, take advantage of the momentum, mm-hmm. versus waiting for it to show up at Amazon?
As soon as you're done, let me say something.
Go ahead, Ben.
Get everything now. Mm. Get your bag. Right? Get your bags, get your boxes, get your tape. Mm-hmm. These are the things that you're going to run out of.
Yep.
Oh, the supplies.
Get them out. Supplies, yeah. Get them ready, because you're going to be shipping. And I mean, you're going to be shipping vast amounts.
He was talking about product.
Products. I'm talking about products. Get your. Hey, it's Halloween. Still send your candy in. Yeah. Get ready. One of the things, the meltable ends this October 16th.
October 16th.
October 16th. Our stuff is packed now, ready to go. Yep. As soon as October 15 hits, they're going to get a massive shipment. Mm-hmm. Get your stuff now. Get your Halloween. Get your Thanksgiving. Start pounding your Christmas stuff, mm-hmm. because we already know. UPS already announced it that they said that they're going to be even slower.
Yep.
To get your stuff. So that means add more time. Yep. More time is going to be added to your FBA list. People are crying about, I haven't seen my product hit things yet within 30 days. Well, get ready, because it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So do it now. Grab your things. You see the deals. I think I got 10 scans running right now as we speak. Mm-hmm. I'm searching.
Another option would be is if it's something that you believe you is going to do well, send it in and keep some where you are. That way you can have an FBM listing while you're still making the sales. In the meantime, while you're waiting for the stuff that's going to Amazon to arrive, be scanned and ready, active.
It's called keeping your momentum. Mm-hmm. That's what you want, because it's going to speed. I don't know how everybody's sales have been going, but the algorithm is changing.
Mm-hmm. Mine have been bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ours for
my sales have been bad.
I want to add something.
Next week.
Okay.
Go ahead, Trina.
I'm sorry. I was going to say that now, I don't know if some of you have got those emails. Now Amazon is offering to cover customer service for merchant fulfill items. And I think I'm going to take advantage of that, especially since Q4 is coming up. They do charge about, I think it's 20 some cents. I don't know. I think it depends on like your account metrics or something per contact, customer service contact. So that's something to think about for Q4 but then also I feel like on the downside of it, you have to be prepared to lose money also if you're going to have Amazon take care of your customer service for you for merchant fill, because they're probably going to be, just giving out stuff free left and right as soon as somebody complains. That's my view on it.
We signed up.
We signed up. We're a part of that. And we have another friend that's been a part of it.
Yep. And it's 10 cents to, I think, 70 cents.
Right.
They base that on how many returns you get. So the cost, I believe it's individual based on you and your store. But even if it were 50 cents,
it's worth it.
For Q4, people return a lot of stuff during the holidays.
We could spend a lot of time talking about this. I would really like to explore it deeper. I don't know if we can today.
Not today, but you know what? Before we move any further, let's go and make sure nobody got left behind on this, including me. This is a program you can sign up for through Amazon, and Amazon will take care of customer returns at a fixed
customer service. Period.
Customer service.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when we say customer service, exactly what are we talking about?
Any kind of questions that your customers might ordinarily ask you. My package was scheduled to be here Tuesday, and now it's Wednesday, and it's
Where's
not
my
here.
item?
What are you going to do about it?
And they're going to charge us how much to do this for us?
They
It's 10. I'd have
assign
to pull
a
up the
fee.
email.
It depends. I think it really depends on historically how many returns you typically have.
So if you have a lot, you may pay more because they're anticipating you're going to be more of a workload on them. I follow.
Correct.
Right.
This is.
I hear
this
it could
is-
be up to about 70 or 80 cents, but I haven't verified that.
Okay.
But it can be as low as 10 cents
10
per
cents, correct.
incident.
Okay.
And this is really relevant. Again, I don't know how much time we can spend on it today, but understanding that during the holiday season, I think anything purchased after October 1,
First.
that becomes the holiday season, which means people have until something like the end of January to return it.
30th.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So that's a long period. And yes, last year was my first Q4 and first holiday. And of course, we had the issues with USPS. And it was a rough holiday season for me, and personally, because I had so many, all the time I just had messages from customers saying, I ordered Black Friday and this is a Christmas gift and it's not here. And, like the same customer 5 times, and I'm giving tracking numbers and trying to hold them, keep them from, having to do a refund. Now, as Tradina said, that's the one thing perhaps we would wonder about is if Amazon is handling our customer service. Are they going to try to, delay the process of giving a refund? I don't know. They might just say, "Okay, here's your money and keep the item."
They do that. They do that to me anyway. Maybe I'm already in the program and didn't know because I'm getting stuff returned, showing up at my house, and I'm like, I never gave an RA a return authorization on this. Maybe I'm in the program.
Well, apparently the way the returns go now, sellers used to have to authorize a return.
There you go.
And then from there. But now Amazon automatically authorizes and issues a label. And once the label is scanned, so they could send you, if they wanted to, a box of rocks back. But if the label was scanned, then Amazon is processing refunds for them. And I saw somewhere that sellers can submit a safety claim if you don't get your product back in the original condition, but who knows?
Yeah. No, that's true. We did that. We actually had an item that was brand new with tags. The person sent it back, not in new condition. So once they scanned the return label at the post office, Amazon automatically refunded them. But once we got the item, it wasn't in the same condition. I took pictures. I uploaded the pictures. You open a case, they review it, and then they refund you up to 50%.
Seriously.
Okay, guys. So we're coming up on time. So we're going to get into the lightning round here to try and make sure we get everybody's comments that we're able to get to. And then we're going to wrap this up. But we'll be back as always. Just a quick comment from Allison. I like to get most of my stuff in for Q4 by September 15th. And that kind of goes back what I wanted to kind of say about what about what Nate and Elizabeth was saying. If you're trying to prepare, remember I was trying to push them for, okay, what does it mean to be prepared? We sort of missed the boat. That doesn't mean that you can't do it. If you being prepared, meaning if that means getting your inventory into the warehouse, you're pushing it. You're tight. But like Elizabeth said, you can do merchant fulfilling as well. Some people don't want to do that. You really need to look into that. FBA is swamped. Definitely going to be worse this year for Q4. Still have a lot of regularly inventory still in transfer. You know, I've been hearing people talk about that. So it looks like CJ is a postal employee worker, letting us know that they are short-staffed at USPS. Again, how nice.
UPS has also said they're going to be short.
Yeah, they're going to be slow.
mean, everybody's short. You go to a fast food restaurant, you have to camp out. You have to bring food to eat while you wait in the line for the fast food if you don't want to pass out.
Somebody said any list of brands you can receive IP complaints. Maybe Tradina, if you're still with us, you might speak a little bit about the software IP Alert. I know you used to use that, didn't you?
Oh yes, I do use it. It's a lifetime membership. I only pay like $70 some for it, and there's like discounts floating around. There's the IP complaint. I think is it an app? No, it's a Chrome extension. Sorry. There's a few of them. I got IP Alert, but there's another one from oh man, what are those? E-commerce empowerment, something like that. There's a few that's helpful, but it's not 100% accurate, I can say, because there's some things where the red light went off on, but I sold it and it never had a problem. For example, like I told Horace one time that Hamilton Beach had a red alert, but he's never had a problem selling Hamilton Beach products, and I went ahead and sold mine and I didn't have a problem. So, and that's just one of the examples, but that's happened a few times. But then also there are some things that there were a green light on, but then I had a problem with it later on. So, you know, you just have to, I don't know, you just have to decide what kind of risk you're willing to take when you get things like that. And there's also spreadsheets, like lists of, some people have created lists that you have to pay for. And some people give them out for free of like the most common brands that have issues. So, yeah, just want to look out for that.
Okay, gang, I think we got through as many questions as we could. Now, remember, once we're done with this live stream, this video gets archived into our entire library, just like all of the other videos. So feel free to leave a comment then. And as always, I will address it. And once again, very, very important, if you would like to connect with someone that's just a little bit further ahead than you so that you can have someone to ask questions, text the words Working Class Hustler to the number that you see on your screen. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell notification so that you can be notified when we go live. I apologize for those of you who are connected. I was selling a car, and so I was into showing that. Got a little bit off, so you might have gotten your text notification a little tight today. I apologize for that. If we are connected and there's some topics or some subject matter that you want the panel to address, make sure you contact me. Text me, send a comment, whatever you need to do. This is what we're here for. I'd like to thank the panelists. Panelists, do not leave. When we end this live stream, we're going to do our after actions review. But I would like to say on behalf of all the working class hustlers of America and all across the globe, thank you, thank you, thank you. Look at your panelists, hustlers. Look at them. They are here for you. They have taken time out of their Sunday to help you. Now, that is an ultimate act of benevolence, and I would like to thank you personally for that. Thank you for all of those who showed up today. We shall return. Good night. Good night, everybody.